more black people get abortion.
Yes. So I looked
Okay,
it up.
why is that, white lady? White lady, why do more black people get abortion? Because abortions are based on what? Lack of access to resources. Because abortions disproportionately happen to impoverished people. Why are black people more impoverished than white people? Because of white supremacy. So thank you for pointing out that people that have been forced into poverty through systemic racism of the last 200 years are forced to abort their baby more because of the lack of resources to be able to raise a baby. And then you, as a white lady, use that as your talking point to take the health care away from those same women that are suffering in those same impoverished neighborhoods because you don't want to acknowledge the white supremacy behind it all.
White people, let's talk about it. Let's talk about our violence, white violence. No more deflecting, no more blaming everything on everybody else. Let's confront ourselves. White people in America, our history is so extremely violent. And instead of confronting that, we continue to blame other people for the issues and the problems in this country, instead of just taking ownership of our part to play in everything, which is a huge part. Can we stop scapegoating other groups of people, please, and just look at ourselves? White people, it's time to talk about it. Like, it's long past time. Getting rid of other groups of people in this country is not going to make this country better. It's not going to make your life better. It's not going to make you better. I think white people are so scared to talk about race and to talk about white violence and white supremacy because they don't want to connect themselves to it. We don't want to feel like we're a part of the problem. But unless you're acknowledging the reality of how the US, this country, runs, you are a part of the problem. I truly believe in my heart, in my soul, that if you're born a white person in this country or on this planet, but I'll just speak about this country, part of that journey is to dismantle systems that have been built to oppress other people. The hard work of life is to confront yourself. How do I benefit from the way that things are? And how does my benefiting from those things harm other people? And instead of walking around with, 1,000-pound bag of shame on your back, consider it your responsibility to do that work. Consider it an opportunity that you are in the best possible position to make this world a better place by not accepting racist and prejudiced and oppressive systems for what they are and trying to contribute to changing them. Use the privilege that you have for good. I don't think that anybody can ever really love themselves without being honest about themselves, without being honest with themselves. And that work is painful and hard, but it's so worth it. White people, you don't have to consciously think that you're better than other people in order to contribute to harm against them. All it takes to contribute to harm is to stay silent and disengaged. White people, can we finally get this shit right? Can we finally take accountability? Can we finally look ourselves in the mirror and decide that this isn't good enough? We're not doing a good enough job. You aren't losing because somebody else is safe and cared for. You aren't losing because somebody different than you exists. White people, let's talk about it. Let's start having these conversations with ourselves and with each other. It's time.
White men are the mental health problem in this country. Jim Crow, white men. Slavery, white men. Segregation, white men. Concentration camps for Asian Americans in the late 30s and early 40s. 1,800 people died. How many black people were hung from trees? 8,000. Let me guess. Oh yeah, once again, white men. The gun violence? 98% are men. 84% are white men, U.S. citizens. I see a trend. How about the Middle Passage where 1.2 African Americans died? Oh yeah, once again, white men. Why was the Second Amendment written? Let me think. So black people couldn't have their freedoms. So the white men could once again control them. Who's in the White House? An adjudicated rapist, convicted felon white man. Wow, I see a trend. But somehow Americans are just begging to blame a trans person, a non-white person. See, what happened to George Floyd is symbolic of what's happening in this country. The white man putting his knee on the neck of a non-white person and sitting there in broad daylight with the balls to say, who's going to stop me? And that's what we're seeing right now. So that's the question that we need to ask ourselves as a fucking country. Who's going to stop them? Because I'm just one person here. Now, I don't know about you, but I got friends and family that are sitting behind the white privilege, and I want nothing to do with them. Not because of who they are, because their lack of action. Martin Luther King said, history is going to remember not the people that did bad things, but the good people that stood by and did nothing. Because once again, the white man is hiding behind their privilege while everybody else is getting treated like absolute fucking garbage. Because it doesn't affect me. You don't even want to go on a general strike to stop fascism. Oh, I can't work. Oh, I got a job. White man is the mental health crisis in the United States of America. It has been since day one. When you look at the majority of them, what do you see? A bunch of insecure little wannabe alpha males with small penises that need big trucks and guns to feel like a real man. That's the real problem, is toxic masculinity. That the white man feels unable to shit on everyone's rights just because of how they look. It's ironic, isn't it, that they demonize black people because they're black on the outside, and yet their hearts are black on the inside. Isn't that ironic? And every single time we see a mass shooting, they're just salivating on the white supremacist red hatters to say, oh my gosh, it was an immigrant, it was a trans person, it was a gay people. 84% of gun violence is white men. But when it happens, like at the church the other day, what happens? Oh, thoughts and prayers. But what happened with the racist podcaster? Oh, they were just dying for it to be somebody on the left so they can just blame somebody else. A white man. The Catholic, the church yesterday. A white man. 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 Ahmaud Arbery. Guess what? 3 white men that chased out a black guy. Breonna Taylor. Oh, a white cop. Again and again and again and again and again. It's the same demographic. White men are the problem in this fucking country. And until we address the real mental health epidemic, which is white supremacy built on white men controlling people, because that's how this country was designed, for 21-year-old landowning white men to shit on everybody else. This country was designed to benefit my demographic, and that is not okay. That is the original sin of this country. And until we address it, we will never be a great country, and we haven't been a great country. And if you don't like that, then you can ship.
How's everybody doing today? So I see, once again, we've had it put into our face that white folks, we are the problem. We're the problem. We're the problem. Our refusal to honestly deal with our history of hatred, racism, genocide is a problem. Our inability to see where the unhealthiness of our culture is the problem. Our inability to see how racism and Christianity all tied up in together is a problem, is the problem. And the biggest problem is that we do not see we are the problem. God bless everyone. Have a beautiful afternoon.
My question is for white people. And I am a white person, so I feel like I'm allowed to ask this, but not only am I allowed, I feel like it definitely needs to be discussed. And my question is this. What have we done as a race, as a group of people, to make anybody else like us? Why should anybody else like us? Because everything that we have done as a group of people has been to tear somebody else down and make sure that we are at the top, as if race is like a tier system. If you look far enough back at anything in this country, it's probably going to be rooted in racism, which is something that I have been learning a lot about lately. And it just begs me to wonder, why do we think as a race that we are automatically deserve so much respect? For what? What have we done to deserve that? Yeah, that's my question. And I think the answer is genuinely nothing.
I've had it with white people that triple trumped. Yeah. That have the nerve and the audacity to walk into a Mexican restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, an Indian restaurant. I really genuinely believe that if you triple trumped, then you are all about preserving the lack of culture in white America that has led us to where people go and Bible thump with their AR-15s. Like, that's the only thing that I see when you get all white people together in the United States. There's no culture at all. So they have to go borrow culture from people. Even the word woke, they've borrowed from Black culture. I don't think you should be able to enjoy anything but Cracker Barrel. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel. Quit watching NBA basketball. Quit watching sports that are dominated by African Americans. Quit going to Mexican restaurants. You want white culture, you go fucking live in it. But do not participate in any of the shit that makes America cool. And what makes America cool is multiculturalism. And if you want to triple Trump and you want to browbeat DEI and you want to browbeat gay people and you want to browbeat Black people as you've been doing for 400 years, and you want to browbeat this generation of immigrants that come over here and open up businesses earnestly, pay their taxes, you want to demonize them and call them rapists and felons and all this shit when the felon is the teeny weeny mushroom cock piece of shit, Kankles McTaco tits at the top of the ticket. I have fucking had it from top to bottom. White people that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel, because nobody wants to see your fucking smug ass, teeny weeny, pink arm, big gut around. Nobody wants to see that shit.
Privilege isn't about what you have gone through. It's about what you haven't because of the privilege that you do have. It's about the things that you have not had to go through because of probably your skin color or the money that you have in your bank account. And until you acknowledge that there is a system that has been put in place to make sure that other people are oppressed with the same system that gives you benefits to things that they can't get a hold of, the promise of equality will always be, and actually will always stay, out of reach. Until white people unite and realize and decide that whatever has been happening in the country of America is not something that we want to continue to happen. We want to stand against it. We want for everyone to be treated as a human, because everyone is a human being. No human being is more special than the other. No human being is supposed to be treated in a way that they're not supposed to, in a way that you yourself will not be treated as. So until white people actually speak up and speak out and say and stand with the minority groups, it's going to be very hard for America to see or to ever turn a page, or to see a better future or a better tomorrow. And you can't fix a system that you refuse to admit you benefit from. The first step is to actually admit that, actually I do benefit from this particular system. I do benefit from a system that has been made sure and meticulously and specifically been made to make sure that people who look like me get every single benefit that they could possibly dream of and could possibly think of, and then making sure that people who don't look like me are oppressed and remain in pain and in torture because they cannot get what I have. And it's literally even the most basic things like safety. Having safety in a country that you were born in is apparently even a privilege, not even having to look behind your shoulder in any minute you walk down the street. That in itself is a privilege. Being safe and feeling the sense of home in a country that you were born in, that is a privilege, because other people from minority groups do not have that. They don't really quite understand what it feels like to be constantly at peace and not knowing what walking down the street without looking around, or having a Karen yell at you and shout at you because you look different from her and different from the people she believes should live in her area, is just yelling at you. And before I give my full commentary, I hope that white people are ready to learn. If there are white people who are on this video, I hope that you are ready to learn. You keep an open mind and you try and understand where minority groups come from when they constantly say that they want to be treated equally, because it usually falls on deaf ears, and it's getting kind of frustrating to continuously tell people, human beings, the same as everyone else, to treat a certain people equally, or to treat them as you'd like them to treat you, or you'd like the government to treat you, But before I give my full commentary, kindly do consider commenting what do you think about this particular topic. And without further ado, let's dive in and listen to what other people have to say, and then we'll come back and talk about it. See you shortly.
Something I want to say about whiteness before this app goes kaput, specific to white people in America, which is kind of me. There are these conversations we have about imposter syndrome, you know, like, I have imposter syndrome, I have imposter syndrome. And for a white person, the reason that you and I have imposter syndrome is because we are imposters. To be born white in America is to be born a settler. Even if we don't own land, the cultural implications of colonization and the power structure means that we have a settler psyche. That's how our brain works. That's how we think. That's how we go. In the entirety of the sense of self, in whiteness, for white people, is a fabrication. It is a lie. It is pretenders. We are imposters. That's why we have imposter syndrome, because we are imposters. Why do you think white people, especially white men, me, why do you think we're so fragile? Why do you think we can't handle conflict? Why do you think we run away all the time? Why do you think it's because we have a fragile sense of self, a fragile ego, and we're fragile because we are trying to keep up this charade of being superior, which is a fucking lie. The irony of a superiority complex is a deep sense of misery and fragility that makes life not enjoyable because we are actually living counter to what is true to humanity, which is that we are all the same fucking species, meaning we are all equal, we are all worthy and valuable to the same fucking degree. But because we have so distorted that, because of our ancestors have so distorted that, or maybe I should point down, they're certainly not going there. Because of that distortion, we are born in this psychological framework where we have this really fragile sense of self and we're just trying to keep up with the Jones, keep up the fucking charade, and we don't do the fucking work internally to actually figure out how to root and ground ourselves in some sort of values, to respect the humanity of others, to respect the humanity of ourselves. And so we just pretend, and then we feel terrible. I'm an imposter. They're gonna find out, and then I'm a fraud. Well, you're a fucking fraud, and so am I. Because we're fucking white Americans. Now, this is a little bit different for men and women. There is an imposter syndrome that exists under patriarchy for women that I'll never understand. And so I'm just speaking to the white portion of this. But if you are white, even if you're a woman, it's a little bit different, obviously. But like white people in general, we are fucking imposters, man. And we gotta confront that and look at it dead in the mirror. Because do we want to be fragile forever? Do we just want to like not be able to deal and handle conflict forever? Do we want to do this bullshit right to comfort forever? And I'm looking myself in the mirror right now. This is what I realized this whole last year. I am a fraud. I am a fake. I am a pretender. That's who I have been. That's not who I need to continue to be. There's a better world. There's a better life. There's better relationships. But the longer we run away from this shit, the longer we fucking hide, where are we gonna get? We're never gonna be good community members. We're never gonna be able to practice actual revolutionary values. We're just gonna keep in the same fucking bullshit, distant, non-intimate, fake, imposter shit. We have imposter syndrome because we are imposters.
This might be a hot take, but there's a huge difference between being not racist and anti-racist. Growing up as a white person, I was not racist. I didn't say the N-word, but I also was terrified to participate in any sort of discussion about race. I sort of just stayed out of it, right? I was like, this isn't a problem I contribute to, but it's also not gonna be a problem that I help put an end to, I guess. Then I went to college at Brown, and that's where I learned that not being racist is in its own way contributing to racism. Because if you are too scared as a white person to call out the racism of other people or to critically examine your own biases, especially your implicit ones, that is still a contributing factor to the problem. And that's why I now make the content that I do, because I'm thinking back to all of these things that I heard as a child, and I'm seeing my entire life in a new light. Like, wow, this family was quite racist, this friend was racist, all these things that the people I went to high school with that they did, sort of critically examining it as well as my own biases. So if you are someone who continues to insist that you're not racist, you're probably contributing to the problem.
So black people are taking white jobs. China gave us the China virus. Haitians are eating pets. Puerto Rico's a floating island of garbage. What the fuck are white people besides gigantic pieces? That video was taken down after it went very viral because apparently there was a whole bunch of people who didn't like me talking shit about the white folk. But I'm here today on November 6th, the day we literally lost our democracy, to tell you that white people are the fucking problem. We've always been the problem, and we're always going to be the problem. I am not one of those fucking pick-me girls, okay? I am on all the marginalized groups' side. I will say fuck the patriarchy to anyone who will listen. This right here, this Donald Trump presidency for 2024, white. So it's, we let all of our black and brown and gay and lady friends, we let everyone down. Yep. You can only blame you, white people. And I'm trying to make this video so it doesn't come down, because you are the fucking racists in this country. Yep. I mean, you are the ones that called every marginalized group a slur. Not the other side. Have the fucking day you deserve.
Racism devastates people from the global majority the most, obviously. Let's be really clear about that. But whiteness carries a cost for white people too. And I wish white people could get that into their heads. It shows up in how isolated we often are. In regions like the Northeast and Wales, over 90% of people are white British, and a third of white Britons say they have no friends from a global majority background. I mean, think about what that means. We are cut off from whole worlds of perspective, from different ways of thinking, problem solving, creativity, ideas, joy, humor, you name it. Instead of gaining resilience through difference, we stay small and we stay shallow and we cling to sameness, and I guess we call that normal. Whiteness looks like power, but it's really a cage. It cuts us off from the richness of life itself. Racism dehumanizes people of color, but it also diminishes white people. And anti-racism isn't charity work, remember. It's how we open the door to fuller humanity, connection, and possibility. I mean, it would be great if we did this out of the goodness of our hearts and for the sake of justice. But if that feels like too much to ask, do it for selfish reasons. Do it because your life will be richer, deeper, funnier, and better if you do.
Can we stop, for once, at least, maybe in our nation's history, stop trying to blame white-on-white crime on black people? Can we stop it for once, at least, please? Like, we all knew when Charlie Kirk was killed. We knew who this was going to be. We knew who the suspect was going to be, a young white man. We knew it. And yet, some people tried to spin this to say it was something else. And now threats are being lobbied against black students at universities. Black HBCUs are being threatened to be blown up. I think 4 of them had to shut down yesterday and today because they had to deal with bomb threats. It was never them. It's never been the black community. We always blame anybody else but ourselves. But the call is coming from inside the house. We are the problem. White on white crime, we are the problem. We have always been the problem. So let's for once stop trying to blame somebody else and look inward and try to address the actual problems that we are the ones creating upon ourselves.
I cannot wait for the comments on this one, but white people, we're gross, and I just learned yet another reason why. So my 3-year-old son is in nursery school, right? And we got an email the other day that said that there was lice happening at the school. Gross. So I follow the links to like the CDC page on head lice, and I of course buy all the products and get the knit comb and all the things, and I'm studying the information on the CDC page when what to my wondering eyes should I come across but the little fun fact that African American communities experience less lice than white people. It just makes me think of what a nice compliment that is to the TikTok I saw the other day. Oh, I wish I could remember who created it, with the guy talking about how when the Europeans came here to the US, then, you know, Turtle Island, the indigenous people could smell them like football fields away, and they were like so repulsed that they begged them to bathe, and they taught them how to have appropriate levels of hygiene. And they say white people have no culture. It's in our blood. We're disgusting.
You don't think white women have been conned to the most by patriarchy? Explain this. 92% of black women voted for Kamala Harris, and only 47% of white women did. So more than half of white women voted for a patriarchal rapist. Why? Because they were the most conned by patriarchy. Sure, patriarchy runs thick in all of us, and we all do have to deconstruct. But because of patriarchy's intersection with white supremacy, it hits different for white women. White women are told, yeah, white men might be the most powerful in society, but you can live in their houses. You can have access to the places where these men go, to the places where influence happens. You can just influence your husband to get the world that you want, because your husband will be the most powerful in this society. Patriarchy says, yeah, you have to submit to men. Men will always be higher than you, but you get to be higher than everyone else. And this is how patriarchy subtly convinces white women to help them enforce white supremacy culture. It says, yeah, you can't be at the top of the ladder, but we'll give you the second rung, higher than the rest of them. Patriarchy doesn't make the same promise to black women or to Latino women. It doesn't work so hard to con them because it knows that they're likely already sufficiently oppressed by white supremacy and likely capitalism too. Patriarchy does its best to get white women to buy into the idea of hierarchy. It needs us to, because if we didn't, we alone could be the force that changed the tides. There are enough of us. So what it tries to offer us instead, in order to entice us to play the patriarchal game, is it says, but you can be not like the other women. You can be better than the other women. You can be the cool girl or the sports girl or the trophy wife. While all those other women are getting oppressed because you're the exception, that's right, you're going to be the exception, then you will get treated better by patriarchy. Patriarchy won't forget about you and render you invisible when you're in your 40s like it does those other women. You're special. If you're just self-sacrificing enough and you prioritize your children and your husband, oh, there will be a bright future waiting for you. Don't listen to those other older women. They're just bitter because they're not special like you. You're different. Patriarchy barely plays that game with other women. That is a game designed for white women. It's why white women are so competitive with each other, because they all think they're vying for the slot of the special woman, the exception to the rule that applies to other women. Little do they know there was never any such exception. That carrot is like the bunny that the greyhound is chasing around the track. It always just seems to elude them. By the time they figure it out when they're in their 40s, and they start getting treated like they have no value, well, by then they'll just be discarded, while their husband gets somebody younger who doesn't yet know this, and then that younger woman will be told, you're the exception. It won't happen to you. Just wait, you will be cherished forever. White women need to own our shit. You should be really embarrassed by this.
Go ahead, be on the wrong side of history. Listen, Shaquita. Isn't that racial profiling?
I'm not stitching this to stitch for this woman to understand anything, because there isn't a chance she's going to until she needs other women. She just won't understand it until she needs other women, because white women are the problem. White women are the problem. I am the problem. So I'm trying to be part of the solution. I'm trying to help white women understand that the reason that you're going so hard is because a man told you to go that hard, and men are getting you to do their bidding war for them and go against women. You know, I am a woman's woman through and through, have been my whole life. I have never, will never, and don't need to ever be a pick-me girl. And it's really sad that white women are the problem. But we need to be part of the solution now. Women, white women especially, please.
All know that white people are not really the most, I don't know how to put it, but they do not have a sense of self. They mostly are very individualistic. They like staying with themselves, and they usually fight even with people who look like them for literally no reason. And they have a fragile ego, and they have a fragile sense of self. They sometimes don't really know how to act like in certain situations. And that's why you find that sometimes when you are kindly telling a white person that they're probably benefiting from a certain system, or you're telling them that whatever they're saying is kind of racist and they should not say certain things, they automatically just bring up their shields and they start, you know, venting and shouting and yelling, saying they're not racist and you're calling them something. And this is why we have so many white on white crimes. This is why we have so many white on white crimes, because white people don't really know how to deal with the anger inside themselves, because to some extent they don't really understand what is bothering them inside. Their spirit is entangled in things that they don't quite understand, and finding that spiritual enlightenment can sometimes be a problem, especially if you do not really quite understand or quite really know that you have a problem inside you. That's why we have so many white on white crimes. We have mostly white kids, you know, taking guns from home or buying guns and then going to commit very, very terrible crimes in schools, in stores, in churches, all around America. We have this this thing in society where white people know that because they are white, they can simply buy a gun and they can take justice into their own hands. They can kill anyone they want, especially if that person is from the minority groups. And in their heads, because that is what they have been taught, especially in class and in history, especially in history books, and what they're taught by their parents, that as long as you're white, you tower over every other person, you tower beyond anyone else who is not white. And so whatever you say should go. And that's why we have so many issues where when a black person actually stands up to a white person, they start calling the police. Like, you are so you are so in your head that you believe that there are these enforcers of law should come tell this person that they're supposed to kneel before me, they're supposed to listen when I speak, they're supposed to do as I say because I am white. Not because both have two eyes or two legs or two hands and we can easily like fight with our fists. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that if you wanted to, you could. Like, there is no, disability. Like, everyone is equal. That person is equal to you. And even if they are disabled, doesn't really matter. But, like, they can actually fight you. But because of their skin color, in your head, it's just, that is not someone who can relate to you. That is not someone that you can even have an understanding with, because your ancestors, your parents, your family, your churches have taught you that you are worth more than any other person. You are worth anything that you want to give yourself. You tower beyond everyone else. And that is, I guess, the biggest problem with white people, not understanding and not actually reflecting on what is really disturbing their spirit, not reflecting on what is actually the problem within themselves. And that's why I'm so happy with the white people in this video, the ones that are featured. A big shout out to all of them, because they speak the truth. They ask, there's a lady on there who asks, what have we done as a white people so that other minority groups or other groups of people, because anyway, if you look in the whole world, black people are more than white people. So what have we done as a people to even want to make other people like us? What have we done as a group to make other people look at us and say, you know what, I can be friends with these people. These people are actually good. These people are actually nice. What have we done, as a white people, as a white culture, if I may say so? What have we done to even make other groups of people feel like they are welcome within our environment, they're welcome in our community? What have we done? And even there's a lady who says that, I don't know if it was a lady or a man, who says that white on white crimes should stop being blamed on black people. And immediately you hear that a crime has been committed to a white person, let's not just jump into conclusion and say that, oh yeah, that's a black person who did it. Black people and then you find out later that it's not a black person, it's actually a white person, and then you still don't want to believe it and you still want to blame it on minority groups. We have a white community that said that there should be deportations, that certain Latinas and Hispanics and even other black people who weren't in America legally should be deported. And then after they are deported, the farmers in Arkansas and other places in America start complaining that taxes are high and they don't have enough workforce, never really blaming themselves. They don't blame themselves, they blame the government now. They say that the government should give them more money so that they can be able to buy more fertilizer, to buy more things so that they can be able to produce. But they don't really want to reflect on themselves and realize, you know what, I voted for this person because I thought that when they get to that seat, they will make sure that I get whatever I want. And then now that he is giving you what you want, you don't want it again. You wanted the deportations to happen and you're very happy about it, and you went and protested and you said that these people are actually taking our jobs. And now that they are gone, you are going through losses. And now instead of actually seeing that, oh, you know what, there's a problem within me, because why would I make such a suggestion and now I'm suffering from my suggestion? Now I'm suffering for my suggestion actually being implemented. Instead of looking at it like that, you want to blame it on the government, because they have sent away these people, what does the government want you to do? What? And then even voting in someone who looks like you because you think that he's going to treat you better than everyone else, and he's going to continue the same system in America where you have privilege over every other person. And then now he's showing you that he doesn't care about you just because you look like him. He does not care. He actually cares about what is in your pocket. Are you a millionaire? Are you a billionaire? You're not? Oh, well, then I don't care about you. Even though we look the same, I don't care. And now, because now there's Trump, who has done whatever he has done so many terrible things in America. Now that he has done all these things, this is now a wake-up call. And now we're having so many white people actually calling themselves out and actually realizing that they are the problem, actually realizing that whatever they were taught in school, whatever they have been taught by their parents, even in churches, not Christianity, but in churches, because there are certain churches that push this racial narrative that I don't want to get into right now. But realizing that, you know, the community and the world in itself has taught me the wrong thing, and I should be better, because what I have learned and what I have been shown and what I have been told is not actually what is happening in our world. In the actual world, there are these black people who are actually people and who are much better and who are nicer than what I was taught in the history books. And when a black person tells you, sorry, I don't like the way you're talking to me, and I don't like that your remarks are a little bit racist, and then you get upset and you get angry, that's weird. That's weird. And you should look within yourself. Why don't you ask yourself, why did she say that, or why did he say that? Why did he say or she say that whatever I said was a little bit racist? Or why did they say a certain remark towards me? Search within yourself, and the moment that you actually put the work in, you will come to see that your spirit will actually settle. Supporting a certain group beyond yours doesn't take anything from your group, especially if you haven't done anything wrong, you know, and especially if this minority group really just wants equality. They don't want to get to a point where they are more superior than you and then, you know, trample all over you. And that can be seen even with the black president. We had Barack Obama as a president, and he did not care about races. He could have easily made sure that now white people are suffering and black people are thriving. He could have done it, but he didn't. He actually showed that there is goodness in black people for the people who didn't think that there was such a thing in black people. He's actually considered one of the best presidents in America, because he went there with, I don't know, just a beautiful spirit, and he did what he wanted. He was, you know, he said he was going to do, and he was voted in twice, and he came out and people actually miss him right now, because whatever he did showed, and whatever Trump is doing, when you compare those two, you can see that not just because someone looks like you doesn't mean they want the best for you. It doesn't mean that, and it doesn't guarantee that. And it's important that Trump was actually voted in, because now we are coming to see, and actually mostly white people are coming to learn, and to, because they were warned by black people, they're coming to see and they're coming to learn that, you know what we did was wrong, because we are not only hurting other people, we are hurting ourselves as well. And we need to reflect on ourselves, and we need to read, we need to re-educate and rub off whatever we had been taught before, and then relearn and actually set aside whatever else we thought was right, and actually regain our own mastery of what we want to learn about. Asking black people about their experiences, and actually meaning to want to learn and to want to understand, and working towards yourself and towards the betterment of your country is honestly the simplest thing you can do as a citizen of a country that has a rainbow people. There are so many people that come in America. We have Asians, and obviously Asia has so many countries. In Africa, there are Africans who are also in America, and obviously Africa also has so many countries, even in Europe, Australia, we know all this. So all these people coming to unite in your country, and you actually giving them the benefit of living together with you peacefully can bring so much, and allowing yourself to actually have that, to actually, because it is just reach out your hand, it is actually possible to have it. So allowing yourself to want to have these things, and start making it start from you where you are, and extending it to your kids and the generations to come, and even to your family members. It is honestly, it's not a small step, it's a very, very big step in the right direction. I hope you have been motivated by this, and I hope you've learned something. If you have, kindly do consider sharing, subscribing, and liking. We love to grow in this channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.